Looks like our new friend's already abstracted.
Well, I guess we're not all cut out for it.
I don't even remember her name, honestly.
Hey, Pomni, how'd you sleep? Are you still sleeping? I'll let you get back to it if you are. There she is. Hope you're doing all right. I know yesterday was a bit of a doozy. Oh, and don't worry about the whole abandoning me for the exit thing. It's perfectly understandable what you were going through at the time, and there's no hard feelings. You're all good. Look, Pomni, we're already friends with the princess.
I'm not a child. You don't have to hype me up.
Ooh, is everybody okay?
No.
Oh, man. Poor Pomni. I hope she's all right.
Poor Pomni? How about poor us?
Hey, you okay?
No.
You want to talk about it?
What is there to talk about?
I don't just want to leave you here.
Why not? I don't matter in the slightest. I'm nothing. My life, my memories, my friends. It's all fake.
This may seem weird, but I think I know the feeling. Well, maybe not the exact feeling, but feeling like you're nothing is kind of normal. I mean, people even feel like that in the world I came from. But you still care about your buddies up there, don't you? I'm sure they still care about you.
What does it matter? What do we have when you people leave? We're just obstacles. Created to be defeated and forgotten.
Well, you don't have to be. The circus, the place I'm from, well, I'm originally from somewhere else. But if it has to be my home, maybe it can be yours too. The people there are interesting, at the very least. Maybe you could be somebody real there.
Why are you trying to cheer me up? How does this benefit you at all?
I guess I just don't want you to feel like you're nothing. I don't want anybody to feel like that.
But I'm not even a real person. Would I even belong?
I'm sure you wouldn't belong any less than me. And I could use a friend.
A friend? You're a strange little character. Suppose I could give it a try. Wait, what?
Episode 2 was the episode where I realized this show was more than it seemed. And the reason for that is because of the new theme for this episode. Love and hate is a powerful weapon. Now, what does this theme mean exactly? Well, basically, what I mean is that platonic love and hate is a weapon. And still, that doesn't make sense. I'm talking about love and hate as an action, more than a feeling. Throughout this episode, and the other ones, we see our characters interact with each other. And a lot of the time, we see them try to comfort each other, or try to help each other. And we have a certain character who does their best to do the exact opposite. The words love and hate are never really said throughout most of these episodes, but they are shown through the characters' actions. And that is what this theme is about. How these actions that show love and hate and make others feel like they're loved or hated affect them. The characters don't necessarily have to hate or love the character. They can just show the lack of that, and that can affect someone as well. Like a certain AI who can't seem to understand how to show it. I also want to talk about Gummy Goo, who I will be adding a character folder for. Even though he doesn't show up in all the episodes, he shows up enough times where I think I could use that folder for something in the future. Now with that all out of the way, it's time to analyze episode 2 of the amazing digital circus, Candy Carrier Chaos. In Pomni's dream sequence, we can see that she is worried about abstracting and that none of the people in the circus are going to care about it. Because in her mind, she thinks that they don't care about her, or in this case, love her. This is also the start of her arc for this episode, where she believes that no one in the circus cares for her. When Ragatha wakes her up from the dream, Ragatha tries to cheer her up, but Pomni, still weirded out by everything, doesn't realize and understand Ragatha's intentions, which affects Ragatha. Once again, we're also seeing more of Ragatha being more than what she seems, and we also see Ragatha's arc for this episode of her trying her best to help Pomni get used to this environment. But it is not working. When Kane explains his adventure, he treats it like a game and nothing more, showing this nihilistic perspective in the circus. But the scene also reveals to us another new theme called There is Meaning in a Stagnant Life. Kane, making another adventure for the second day in a row, shows this endless cycle of just doing the same thing over and over and over again, being stagnant. What could the meaning for a stagnant life be? Well, you're gonna have to wait for the answer till the end. Bubble, starring the curse, is of course once again showing things are not as they seem, because Bubble cursing doesn't make sense with what we've heard from Kane. Zubul skipping the adventure once again, but this time Kane tries to get her to join. This is the start of Kane's arc throughout the series. I also realized I should have added a point for Zubul last episode because of her reluctance in joining the adventures. This is also a big part of the theme for Love and Hate Are a Powerful Weapon. Kane is a big part of this theme, as we will see throughout this series. Pomni's reaction to this is calling it LARPing, which is actually a roleplay term, which is basically a live action version of Dungeons and Dragons, basically. This is her realizing that this is all it is, day after day. A stagnant life, where you keep on going on these adventures made by an AI that, to her, doesn't seem to care about them or their feelings. I'm gonna also add a point to the Pomni folder, because now she's realized what the circus basically is. Kane shoving them into the portal is a funny gag, but also shows something about Kane that we've not really seen. I'll be adding a point to Kane's folder, because this shows that he's starting to be a bit more pushy about his adventures. The intro to the Candy Kingdom feels like a show or a game. None of this really seemed to matter. like it's just some quest in a role-playing game. In the middle of the introduction, though, we get to see Kinger and Ragatha talking to each other, showing a form of relationship between the two. When Ragatha tries to have a talk with Pomni about the Queen, Pomni's statement about not being a child hurts her a bit. Without Pomni realizing, she hurt someone that is trying to help her out. The Queen brings out a big truck that doesn't really make sense in this setting, and Pomni questions it, and is the only one that questions it, because she's still not used to this kind of environment where you just kind of have to accept things are as they are, even though you want it to matter. Jax, after finding out the horn wasn't what he was expecting, forces Gangle to drive no matter if she wants to or not, showing that Jax doesn't seem to care about her, as if she doesn't matter. When introducing Gummy Goo, we find out that he's not just a bandit, that the reason they're doing this is to save the village, including his mother. Gummy Goo and his friends are more than they seem. I will be adding a point to the Gummy Goo folder as we get to see his character and what he's like. The truck debacle doesn't have that many themes, it just has one theme, which is nihilism versus existentialism. Most of the cast want to work together and listen to each other, trying to figure out a plan that works for all of them. Jax, on the other hand, does not care at all about what they think and just does it his own way, as if they don't matter. I'm going to add a point to most of the characters here, all except Gummy Goo for now. We get to really see how horrible Jax is to everyone. When he throws Pomni out of the truck, how he treats Gangle when she's driving. Ragatha and Pomni stand up to Jax. Pomni calls him a butthole. Ragatha gets mad at him for throwing her out of the truck. We can also add to the Things Are Not As They Seem folder with Ragatha, as her standing up is against the kind of stereotypical character she shows. Kinger, though not being helpful, shows that he cares for Pomni and wants to help her. Gangle tries to talk back to Jax, but Jax doesn't back down and blackmails her into ramming into the truck. This shows us also that Gangle might be a weeb, which is not a bad thing in of itself. We now get to the Gummy Goo scene, which is where I started to realize this show is more than it seems. He is very confused about what's going on and wanting Pomni to tell him what is going on. And he's starting to realize he's something else than what he thought. And he's starting to have this nihilistic view. I'll be adding a point to the Gummy Goo folder as well as the Pomni folder here. Gummy Goo is obvious, but I'll explain anyways. His entire view of his world is changing dramatically right now. Pomni is seeing the humanity in Gummy Goo in this scene, and she also tries to find a way out of the place. In the Chocolate River scene, we see Ragatha's and Jax's dramatic opposite views. We also see how much Kinger cares for Ragatha when Jax calls her hair out for looking like licorice. This scene is huge for nihilism versus existentialism. The whole thing is basically Jax doing what we see is a very immoral idea of letting the fudge monster go into the kingdom and eat all the townsfolk. Ragatha is against that idea. Jax is in the nihilistic viewpoint, while Ragatha is in the existentialism viewpoint. We then have the scene where Pomni talks to Gummy Goo, giving a point to Pomni's folder here as she focuses on Gummy Goo rather than getting out of here. Gummy Goo, at the start of the scene, sees himself as nothing after realizing what he is. But Pomni comes in and tells him something different, that he can matter. All he has to do is join her in the circus. Pomni is showing Gummy Goo love, the platonic kind, and it helps him. He gets up and decides to join her. Then, after finally being able to use the physics to skyrocket back into the kingdom, we see that Pomni's empathy, kindness, and love seems to have affected them drastically. Their love seems to be more than platonic here. And somehow I can believe that it happens this quickly. I guess that's just the writing of Gooseworks. Then we get back to the remaining cast who are getting a ride from the Fudge. Jax reveals how he wanted there to be violence against the bandits, showing how little he cares for them. Ragatha laments about how Pomni is probably having another bad adventure. Then Kinger reveals to us that he helped Ragatha out when she first arrived. Kinger is more than he seems. Ragatha, after Pomni and Gummy Goo come out of the truck, comes over to see if Pomni's okay. And Pomni actually answers her in a kind way. Maybe this was out of guilt. Maybe it was realization that she's maybe been of a jerk to Ragatha. Gummy Goo talking to his friends is basically him saying goodbye, knowing that he's leaving them and going to see the circus. Now that there's two trucks, Gummy Goo's friends can take it to the village while they can take the other truck back to the kingdom, because both the village and the kingdom mattered to everyone else, except for Jax. We get to see a very new side of Jax, a very angry and annoyed version. Then Pomni introduces everyone to Gummy Goo, and treating him like a normal person, showing him love. And Jax is, of course, complaining and annoyed because he doesn't really care about everyone else and wants to see violence happen to everyone, but it doesn't happen. Well, that's not true. When they are about to leave the adventure, it's revealed that the Fudge survived the truck hitting him, and Jax left the gates opened. And that makes Jax glad. He wants to cause trouble to the kingdom, because he doesn't care about the NPCs. He doesn't see them as things that matter. Then the infamous scene where Gummy Goo gets deleted, showing that it didn't matter if Pomni took him to the circus or not. He wasn't gonna live any longer either way. But it also shows how Cain can seem to not care when he does, because he's not that great at reading emotions, and that makes Pomni feel like that he doesn't care. He doesn't love them, but he does. Zubul then comes out after Cain leaves, glad that he's gone. Which, by what Kane says, he probably heard that. And that would probably have hurt him. Then Ragatha goes to comfort Pomni. But Pomni, too emotional over Gummigoo's death, is still traumatized. And Ragatha once again shows something more to her. Because no matter what she does, she can't help Pomni here. At least, not on her own. We get to Kaufmo's funeral, and this part made me very emotional the first time I watched it. We see all of the characters, except for Jax, show their sympathies and their stories of Kaufmo. Even if we don't hear them, we can see how much they cared for him. And so does Pomni. She's now able to see that they will be there for her when she needs them. That is the end of her arc. And Ragatha, without knowing it, has helped Pomni with the help of everyone else. With this funeral, they've helped her. This is one of my favorite parts of the series. This scene right here. This shows the meaning in a stagnant life. To help others. And we will see this come up multiple times throughout the other episodes. And that's it for this episode. I've been thinking of doing something like this for a long time, and I'm glad that I've gotten to do at least 2 of the episodes so far. And I just hope I can continue to get it all done every week. Not just for me, but for you guys as well. You guys have a great time, and I'll see you all later.